You have to take a station break here at WBHM-DB.com for Paranormal Experience Radio here with our lovely engineer and producer, Kat Hobson. So you are listening to Hidden World with Chris Carr and usually Clarissa Vasquez, but I'm sitting in and I am Seraphine Hurley, and we will check in with you momentarily. We'll be right back.
NPR podcasts are now available on every platform. Check out all our shows at npr.org/podcasts. That's npr.org/podcasts.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. President Donald Trump has arrived at the U.S. Capitol to deliver his State of the Union address at this hour. In an excerpt released by the White House, Trump states, "The agenda I will lay out this evening is not a Republican agenda or a Democratic agenda. It is the agenda of the American people." But as NPR's Mara Liasson reports, the run-up to the speech was anything but conciliatory.
Today, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said that President Trump has undermined national unity with his divisive tweets and attacks. As if on cue, the president responded with a tweet saying that Schumer was just upset he didn't win the Senate majority in 2018. This will be the first time President Trump speaks before the democratically controlled House. The speech will give some clues about how he wants to move forward in the new era of divided government. The White House says President Trump will offer to work on issues like infrastructure and drug pricing, areas where the Democrats already have legislative proposals developed. On drug prices, Democrats want to allow Medicare to negotiate prices directly. That's a position candidate Trump actually agreed with during the 2016 campaign. Mara Liasson, NPR News, the White House.
The top commander of U.S. forces in the Middle East today told members of a Senate committee the amount of territory held by the Islamic State group in Syria has fallen dramatically. General Joseph Votel saying that from 34,000 square miles of territory, the amount now held is less than 20 square miles. Or Votel also told lawmakers that doesn't mean the U.S. and others can rest easy.
We should expect that they will attempt to attack us and continue to regenerate themselves, and we will continue to put pressure on them to prevent that.
The warning comes even as President Trump, during his State of the Union address, is likely to declare near total victory over ISIS, or ICE. Trump initially called for a rapid pullout of U.S. forces from Syria, but has since slowed down on that withdrawal call. Alabama's Attorney General says a police officer who shot and killed a young black man at a shopping mall Thanksgiving night was justified in the shooting. Andrew Yeager reports from WBHM in Birmingham. The Attorney General says the officer will not be criminally charged under state law.
A police officer in Hoover, Alabama, just south of Birmingham, shot and killed 21-year-old Emantic E.J. Bradford Jr. after shots rang out at a suburban mall. Police initially said Bradford was responsible for the shooting that wounded two people, but within a day said it was unlikely Bradford fired the shots. Another suspect has since been arrested. Tuesday's report from the Attorney General says an unnamed officer heard gunfire, immediately identified Bradford, who was carrying a weapon, as a deadly threat. The officer shot him. The report found this is consistent with accepted standards. The entire sequence took approximately 5 seconds. For NPR News, I'm Andrew Yeager in Birmingham.
Stocks continued higher today. The Dow was up 172 points. The Nasdaq closed up 54 points today. You're listening to NPR. 2 decades after his remains were discovered beneath a North Carolina billboard, officials there say they have identified the then 10-year-old boy. Officials with the Orange County Sheriff's Office saying the boy has been identified as Robert Bobby Adam Witt. Witt was born in Michigan and raised in Ohio. Last year, a consultant who helped solve the Golden State Killer case used DNA testing to determine that Bobby Witt was half Asian and half white. Online DNA services then found a possible relative. The remains of an unidentified woman found in South Carolina about the same time are now believed to be those of his mother. There are still very few women in the music industry. That's according to a new study from the Annenberg Inclusion Initiative at the University of Southern California. More from NPR's Mandalit Del Barco.
Last year, the male president of the Recording Academy, which awards the Grammys, suggested after the ceremony that women should, quote, step up, unquote, if they wanted more recognition in the music industry. The new report looked at the Billboard Hot 100 from 2012 to last year. It found that 12% of songwriters were women and just 2% of the producers were women. Dr. Stacey L. Smith is founder and director of the Annenberg Inclusion Initiative at USC.
A lot of this report is extraordinarily discouraging.
Still, Smith says she's hopeful. For the first time in 15 years, a woman, Linda Perry, has been nominated for Producer of the Year at the Grammys. Mandalit del Barco, NPR News.
And repeating this hour's top story, President Trump has arrived at the Capitol to deliver his State of the Union address. He's expected to call on Congress to break decades of political stalemate. Trump will also tell American people the country has a moral duty to create an immigration system. This is NPR News.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour.
And thank you for hanging out and listening to WBHM-DB.com Paranormal Experience Radio with Hidden World with Chris Carr, usually Clarissa Vasquez. And tonight we do have Sorceress Cagliastro, which we are desperately trying to get a hold of and get her on with us right at the moment. So she should be coming very shortly with any luck here. And but thank you. It is a little after 6 minutes after the hour, and thanks for holding on here at Hidden World, and thank you, Chris Carr, for having me here. So it's been an interesting day. We're talking about a lot of different topics and kind of rounding it out with a little bit of this and a little bit of that, column A, B, and C. So nothing wrong with chop suey every once in a while, right, Chris?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, that's live radio, right? You don't know what you're going to get. And that is kind of one of the tenets of Hidden World.
Exactly.
Things go our way sometimes. And we kind of I don't know, we thrive on it in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a little different than a podcast that's been pre-recorded, edited, put out there for the masses after much work. I mean, you know, you're listening to us live. So if you're listening, enjoy.
Yeah, we put a lot of work into it. I know that Clarissa and Chris put a lot of work into it, and anybody who's their guest. And I know for me, Seraphine Hurley, if I know that I'm kind of the new kid on the block here on this station with my show Tripping the Void that's on Fridays from 9 to 11, that I try to do
shameless plug. Shameless
as
plug.
I can. Yes, it is a shameless plug, but I am
please go ahead. Yeah.
No shame in my game. So
Friday nights, guys, Seraphine, Tripping the Mofo Void.
Exactly. And
yeah, it's a great show. I've listened many times. We were all on the other network before, unnamed, doesn't exist anymore anyways, before we came over here with Kat. And, I'm a fan. So if you guys like Hidden World, you guys will love Seraphine as well. So
thank you.
Put that on your playlist.
But we do a lot of work. This is not a podcast. None of us here in our little microcosm are of paranormal and paranoia are podcasters. We all do our live shows.
We do get put into a podcast. I hate to interrupt you, but we do get podcasted. So if you are listening to us in a podcast, we don't hate you too.
No.
It's just, if you listen live, and when we go to podcast with these shows, they are unedited. They just go out. So
exactly.
You're kind of getting the same experience. But I do know a lot of podcasts go through a lot of editing and that kind of stuff. And there is a great thing about that as well. I'm a fan of podcasts, but there's a little bit of excitement with the live radio too. Sometimes it's not fun, when you have technical difficulties and that kind of stuff. You have to wade through that, but we're getting there.
I wouldn't say that. I kind of get a little bit of a high from that because we've got to like turn on the fly and figure out what exactly we're going to do in the meantime, and sometimes that leads to really great conversation.
Oh hell yeah!
So I don't knock it. I just roll with it. Adapt and overcome.
Oh, that is the secret to life now, isn't it?
It is. Adapt and overcome or get out of my way.
Change is real, folks.
It is.
Every day is not going to be exactly the same. It's a fact.
Yeah. Oh, me? I'm here, and we're talking about being live on the radio.
Wait a minute. Nope.
Yeah, being live on the radio and having all these things that come and go in and out, and yeah, it makes for radio interestingness. And I know that it's kind of frustrating when you know that there's an awesome person that you would like to know more about, and they're coming in and out. But in the meantime, I'm really thankful that you are all bearing with us here on Hidden World here on WBHM. And some things are just easier than others. And we'll just keep on moving forward and seeing where we go with this tonight, since stuff does happen and that's just life, right? So what are you going to do besides, because we all know it. We're all adults here. We all know stuff happens. It comes up, it comes and goes. And yeah, so that's kind of where we are with that, and our different scenarios of we have this guest and we had that guest, and just like Clarissa and Chris had their guest with Eric Werner, which I was there for some of you that don't know that I was, I try to be there for everybody's radio show, and sometimes I'm not in the chat room and sometimes I am in the chat room. Sometimes I'm overlooking the chat room to see, who's in there, and see if any of the other hosts are in there, especially people that I know or are getting to know and things like that. But I was super excited knowing that Sorceress is supposed to be coming in here, hopefully fairly soon, and seeing what's going on. So, yeah, with that and all the other things that we have going, it can only make things more interesting here on Hidden World. So, with puckwudgies and fairies and ghosts and goblins and whatever else can happen, why not throw in demons too, and shadow work and sigils and everything else? Why not? It's a party.
Hey, Kat. I've unmuted myself. You didn't respond to me on chat, so I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. Can you? Okay, wait a minute. I got a message here. Message from Sorceress.
Yay! Messages.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not all in the same media. This is in Gmail, so let me see. Okay, it came in as private number, but they don't go through because she has a thing for no private numbers. So, can you call me from another number? All right. Do you want to give me that number? Maybe in chat. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yep. Well, muting doesn't. Can you just tell me in chat?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'm not going to reveal any numbers live. No worries.
And so, with that being said, we're getting Sorceress Cagliastro on the line with us, and like I said, a lot of you are excited. I'm totally excited with you, and geeking out because she's pretty awesome in her own right. And yeah, so as much as I could just keep talking and talking and talking, in which a lot of you are probably like, "Will Seraphine ever shut up?" But no, somebody put a nickel in me earlier, so I could probably go all night. So, it's
what do you do for a quarter?
I know, right? So we're all kind of on waiting with bated breath, or hopefully not bait smelling breath for Sorceress to be able to make her appearance on the show. Because, as you know, with having live radio and live people, that it's a little harder and stuff, especially when those people are